But it's a very disappointing result for us as a team because we expect to win a game like that. We managed to score 2 goals in the beginning, and game was going our direction. But and I think we consider silly goals, same as we did before while I'm playing. So I'm not nobody can take it. I'm attacking my teammates or something because I'm on the bench. But we consider the same silly goals as we did before. So we have to just try to keep the clean sheet and win games.
When you say you couldn't believe it, what couldn't you believe?
I'm sitting on the bench for 90 minutes. I think that's the third time I'm in the bench. I think it's my first time in my career, but I'm very disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed, to be fair. I have done so much for this club. Everybody can see that during the years, and especially last season. Sitting on the bench, I don't know why. Seems like the club is throwing me under the bus. That's how I feel it. I think it's very clear that someone wants me to get all the blame. The club promised me in the summer for a lot of promises and nothing. So far, I'm in the bench 3 games, so I can't say that they keep the promise. And I said that many times before. I had a good relationship with the manager, and out of the sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why. It seems to me, how I see it, it's someone doesn't want me in the club. But again, this club, I always support it. My kids will always support it. I love the club so much, and I will always do. Now I called my mom yesterday because I knew you guys didn't know that I'm gonna start or not, but I knew. Yeah. I called my mom and dad yesterday. I told them come to Brighton game. It doesn't matter if I play or not. I'm gonna enjoy it. We'll see what's gonna happen, but in my head, I'm going to enjoy that game if I played or not, if I'm in the bench or not, because I don't know what's gonna happen now. So I'm just gonna be in Anfield, say goodbye to the fans, going to Africa Cup, because I don't know what's gonna happen when I'm there. So,
what do you do with the situation now, Mohamed?
It's not acceptable for me, to be fair. Like, I don't know why that happened always to me. Like, I don't get it. I think if I'm somewhere else, every club will protect his player. I don't know why I'm in that situation now. But again, it's how I see it now. It's like you throw him more under the bus because he's a problem in the team now. But I don't think I'm the problem. I have done so much for this club to get the respect I want to get, and I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I earn it. People will say, you're not bigger than. I'm not bigger than anyone. I earn my position. This is football. Yeah. So it is what it is.
When you say that about the Brighton game, you mean that possibly it could be a last game you consider your future in January, perhaps?
Yeah, in football you never know, but I don't accept the situation, to be fair. Again, I've done so much for this club.
Is that what's so frustrating for you? Because you've done so much?
Absolutely. Last season, I'm sorry, with all the respect, I love everyone.
All glory to the higher power for breaking our lungs. My name is Tunde Young on this brand new week filled with a lot of energy, hope, belief, and excitement to bring you episode 16 of the T&T Talk Sports Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for working with us. Thank you so much to everybody that continues to support the channel. You started the show by listening to the words of Mohamed Salah that have thrown the footballing world into turmoil. We'll get to that. But right now, let me start by telling you that we have a new world champion in Formula One. If you're a racing fan, we have a new world champion, the 35th separate world champion, the 35th different world champion is Lando Norris, the young Englishman who clinched the Formula One title just over the weekend after finishing third in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Max Verstappen won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and Norris's McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri finished second in the McLaren Grand Prix. Those are the three that were in the race in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Those are the three that were in the race for the F1 Championship the entire season, and it's finally come to an end with Lando Norris emerging champion, and sparking a lot of congratulations. Let's do a little sports world crossover and let me hear or watch Harry Kane and Beth Mead, English footballers, congratulating Lando Norris, as well as NBA superstar Jimmy Butler, all saying congratulations to Lando Norris for winning the championship.
Hi Lando, how you doing mate? It's Harry Kane here. I just wanted to congratulate you on your first F1 title. Amazing season, honestly, so happy for you. You deserve it. Keep working hard and I'm sure there's many more to come. So enjoy the celebrations and I hope to catch you soon.
Lando, my brother, my dog, man, congratulations on being a world champion. We talked about this. We knew this was going to happen. I'm so proud of you, so happy for you, and I love you, my brother. We'll see you soon to celebrate. Long live Lando, baby. Congratulations.
Welcome back to the show. It was a long, grueling season, but as you heard already, Lando Norris has won his first ever F1 championship with 423 points for McLaren, just 2 points ahead of Max Verstappen of Red Bull at 421 points. Losing the championship on 2 points must be tough. Norris's teammate Piastri is third with 410 points. Let's hear from both losers. I say that with all niceness. Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri speaking about missing out on the championship and giving Lando Norris his flowers.
I knew that going into today, I needed the stars to align to win the championship. Not quite the ending that I wished for, but I think when you look at the season as a whole, I'm very, very proud of the work that I've been able to put in, that my team's been able to put in, and to make so much progress from last year. Ups and downs through the year. I'll look back on the ups with a lot of pride and joy, and look on the downs with plenty of lessons learned. So there's plenty more years left to go, and hopefully plenty more opportunities.
I was already prepared for these kind of outcomes because we needed a bit of luck, to win. And from our side, at least, we optimized the weekend perfectly. We put it on pole. We won the race in, I think, dominant fashion. You lose the championship by 2 points. Looks, of course, painful. But at the other hand, if you look from where we were in Zandvoort, more than 100 behind, then I think it's not too bad. That turnaround has been fun. And today has been fun. I mean, that we didn't win the championship, okay. I mean, that happens. That's life. It's not something that I'll be too sad about. I'm just very proud with the people that I work with. They are my second family. Next year is going to be a big question mark for everyone anyway.
Welcome back. The rest of the table includes George Russell of Mercedes in fourth with 319 points. Both Ferraris are fifth and sixth. Charles Leclerc in fifth with 242 points, while Lewis Hamilton, the GOAT in many people's eyes, 156 points. Antonelli of Mercedes, 150 points in seventh. The two Williams, Albon and Sainz, are 8 and 9, 73 and 64 points respectively. And Fernando Alonso of Aston Martin is 10th, wrapping up the top 10 with 56 points in total too. That's the entire picture of the Drivers' Championship for another F1 season. The Constructors' Championship was never in doubt, had been sealed a long time ago. McLaren win the Constructors' Championship with 833 points, almost double of Mercedes in second with 469. Red Bull are third with 451 points. Ferrari, a poor season for them, fourth, 398 points. Williams are fifth. Racing Bulls are sixth. Aston Martin 7, Haas 8, Kick Sauber 9, and Alpine in 10. So that's the entire picture of the Formula One season, and that is my highlight of the weekend, at least one of them, my sporting highlight of the weekend. Congratulations once again to Lando Norris and McLaren. Hopefully we'll see an even more competitive F1 season next time around. Now, my other highlight of the weekend, this one is very much on the light note, but Mohamed Kudus scored for Tottenham at home to Brentford over the weekend. They beat Brentford by 2-0. Kudus scored and was in the middle of executing his trademark celebration, which is go and collect the stool and sit down. But as soon as he picked up the stool, the goal was ruled out for offside. So he was just there carrying stool for no real reason, and it was just a funny sight to see. If you are watching on YouTube, you are seeing it right now, but it was hilarious to watch. So that's part of my highlight of the weekend, sporting wise. Now, the main conversation of the day: Mohamed Salah is going to dominate this episode because it's the biggest sports story this season across multiple sports. It's definitely the biggest football story of the season so far, and it's been an eventful season already. But Mohamed Salah has dropped the nuke. Mohamed Salah has had enough of being scapegoated, according to him, by Liverpool Football Club and its lot. You've already heard the clip at the top of the show, and you are already up to date with the gist now. But we still have to go into what these comments really mean, and is there a deeper conversation to be had about it? But let me hear the clip once again, and then we'll come into the conversation proper.
Believe it, but it's a very disappointing result for us as a team because we expect to win a game like that. We managed to score 2 goals in the beginning, and the game was going our direction. But and I think we consider silly goals, same as we did before while I'm playing. So I'm not nobody can take it. I'm attacking my teammates or something because I'm on the bench. But we consider the same silly goals as we did before. So we have to just try to keep the clean sheet and win games.
That's the voice of a very, very frustrated Mohamed Salah, who did not have lots of positive things to say after Liverpool's 3-3 draw away at Leeds United at the weekend. Mohamed Salah very, very uncharacteristically, might I add, coming out to publicly speak against the club and the manager, Liverpool Football Club and the slots. And while obviously with everything, he said a lot of things that made a lot of sense, which is he's done a lot for the club. He's been there 8 years. He's one of the greatest Liverpool players of all time. He's one of the greatest English football players of all time. Greatest players to play in English football, obviously. But nobody can deny the level of impact he's had at Liverpool Football Club. And I'm choosing to believe, because even though lots of people, even the people that agree with him or disagree with him, everybody seems to agree on one thing, that you should not have said this the way he said it in the middle of the season, blah, 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 blah. I'm choosing to believe that if Mohamed Salah, with all of his wealth of experience, with his leadership skills, because he's not Liverpool's captain, but he's the captain of the Egyptian national team. If Salah, with all of that, is willing to, he knows what is at stake. If he's willing to come out and speak regardless, it means that he genuinely feels really strongly about this. And it has to be said. If you are looking at it from the perspective of Mohamed Salah is lashing out because he's no longer playing, then I think that's a myopic way to look at it. We have to broaden the horizon here. It was dropped. He's been dropped before. He's not really made a big meal about it in public. But this time around, it does feel a bit targeted. If the entire Liverpool squad is struggling, if Liverpool are having the season from hell that they're having, they have been terrible defensively, they've not really had it going offensively, they've spent a lot of money on big signings that have not hit the ground running whatsoever. And for whatever reason, Mohamed Salah has become the easy target. Not Cody Gakpo, not Alexander Isak, not Hugo Ekitike, not Florian Wirtz, not Jobo Zlai, not Gravenberch, not McAllister, not Van Dijk, not Konate, who has committed many errors this season, not either of the goalkeepers, Alisson or Mamadashvili, not Andy Robertson, who is clearly past his best, or Milos Kerkez, who was signed to replace him and has been somehow worse than Robertson, not Jeremy Frimpong, who has not even been close to the level of quality that Trent Alexander-Arnold brought to this team. Not any of those players that have been essentially regular this season, not Conor Bradley. It's Mohamed Salah we are choosing to pin this on. It does feel targeted. And I maintain that I feel like, I can't speak for Salah, but I'm able to infer, I'm able to read between the lines of what he says and realize that this goes beyond just, manager made a football decision and dropped me. Mohamed Salah feels like he's been targeted by the club. He said specifically, even his statement about he previously had a good relationship with Nadia and now there's no relationship, I do not think that that's about Arne Slot. I think his comments were actually saying that Arne Slot is under a higher power. Like the club are the ones trying to get rid of Salah, and they are using Arne Slot as the instrument to do just that. So that's how I read it, even though it might be odd because the club did just give Salah a new contract 6 months ago or whatever, whenever that was, and after a big song and that, which is another lesson in learning to quit when the going is good, quitting when you are ahead. I said time and time again, Mohamed Salah should have left Liverpool last season as a free agent. Leave as a free agent and go to a top club outside England, or go to a top club outside Europe and go and earn tons of money. Go to Saudi Arabia, go earn tons of money and play your football there. You've already proven enough. I do not think that anybody wants to see Salah's legacy tarnished like this. Even though I don't think it's his fault, I am still willing to admit that this has somewhat tarnished his legacy. And lots of people have not taken this way, especially people connected to Liverpool Football Club. One of such people is Jason McAteer, the former Liverpool player. I don't know if he qualifies as a Liverpool legend, but he had quite a lot of things to say about Mohamed Salah's situation, including stating that Salah never carried Liverpool. I'll let you listen to it and judge for yourself.
Regardless of this situation now, he will still be a Liverpool great. But of course, the feeling will be different because the exit hasn't been smooth. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of people coming out and a lot of former Liverpool players saying he's carried them.
No.
You're not having that.
His numbers are phenomenal,
Insane.
But he can be frustrating. There are times in a game where he goes missing and he's non-existent, and other players have stepped in and give what they needed to do. I'm not. Listen, he's one of the greats, and he always will be, and rightly so. His numbers stack up, but there are times when performances have dropped up and other players have stood up, and I carry the club is Steven Gerrard carried the club.
Okay.
That's the kind of level of leadership and performances, and dragging the team when it's not playing well.
So do you think you would have
cups.
won 2 Premier Leagues, Champions League without Mo Salah?
They wouldn't have won a Premier League without Jordan Henderson. But Jordan Henderson doesn't score the goals and the assists, and he hasn't got the glamour. He doesn't beat players, and he's not an attacking player. Jordan Henderson's a leader. Jordan Henderson wins the ball, gives the ball to Salah. Someone's got to. We did the hard yards, Nicola. We didn't get credit. Thierry Henry, and Michael Owen get the credit, don't we? Thierry and Michael and Robbie Fowler, they all get the credit. We don't get the credit. But listen, he didn't carry the club. He played his part, and massively. He played his part. You don't get me wrong. He was one of the leading performers in the show.
Star of the show.
Yeah.
Those are the words of Jason McAteer, former Liverpool player, who was speaking on as a panelist on matchday broadcast, live matchday broadcast of beIN Sports. And even though he tried his best to frame it in a nice way and saying he acknowledges Mo Salah being a Liverpool legend and all, but insisting that Mohamed Salah did not carry Liverpool is crazy talk, bordering on asinine. Liverpool's success, Mohamed Salah did not meet Liverpool's success. He started it. He essentially was the success for Liverpool. Liverpool's success did not start with Coutinho. Liverpool's success did not start with Mane. Liverpool's success started when Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk and Alisson were signed. With Mohamed Salah being the catalyst. With Mohamed Salah being the defining factor of that period up until now. And the talk about it's a lot of things. Gerrard carried Liverpool. Salah just played his part, but Salah played his part really well, which I find very, very disrespectful. Steven Gerrard carried Liverpool, yes, but very much like Salah, it's not like it was only Gerrard on the team. There were other players that had to do their part as well, and you could make the same argument that he said Salah has had a lot of off days, and sometimes other players have had to step up, which is the nature of sports, which is the nature of football. That's how this goes. When one player when the star player is not having the best of games, other players are required to step up to keep the thing going. It's just that what separates the star player from the other players is that his own bad days are few and far between. More often than not, Mohamed Salah has been required to carry this team on his back more than anybody else that has played for Liverpool Football Club in the last decade. More than Sadio Mane, more than Roberto Firmino, more than anybody else, more than Virgil van Dijk. Mohamed Salah has been the key ingredient, and his stats prove it. His first season at the club, 2017-2018, he scored 44 goals and had 16 assists. Second season at the club, 2018-2019, 27 goals and 10 assists. Third season at the club, 2019-20, 23 goals, 13 assists. In his fourth season, 2020-2021, 31 goals, 6 assists, which is his lowest assist as a Liverpool player in the season. Fifth season, 2021-2022, 31 goals, 15 assists. Sixth season, 2022-2023, 30 goals, 16 assists. Seventh season, 2023-2024, 25 goals, 14 assists. Eighth season, which is the last season, 2024-25, 34 goals and 23 assists, en route to winning the Premier League title and winning every award possible. And you say this man did not carry the team, and he disrespected him even further by even saying Liverpool would not win the league without Jordan Henderson, which might be true. But to suggest that Henderson's contributions and Salah's contributions were even remotely close on the spectrum is ridiculous. It's crazy to me. Obviously, Liverpool do not win the league if every single player do not play their part. That is the simple truth. But the thing is that a lot of the players' parts, a lot of the other players' parts are easily replaceable compared to the very star players. Liverpool will find 10 Jordan Hendersons before they find one Mohamed Salah. Liverpool will find 10 Jordan Hendersons before they find one Sadio Mane. Because Jordan Hendersons are easy to find, or in the context of this conversation, easier to find than Mohamed Salahs. So when people, especially professional footballers or former professional footballers who are supposed to have a higher level of understanding, who are supposed to have a deeper knowledge of how this sport works, who are supposed to educate the naive fans, and now the ones that are making stupid statements like this, and pardon my French, but this was a stupid statement. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm attacking Jesse Market here, so best of luck to him. I want to go through some other reactions. Stan Coleman, another former Liverpool player, I don't know again if he counts as a legend in some of your books, but he also gave his own instant reaction to Mohamed Salah's comments, and he did so with a very, very long post on Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. I'm going to read it now. Mo Salah, a very long read. That's what he titled it. It goes on to say, I think I know a little about LFC, its supporters, and how they view their club. Shaped, of course, by Shankly, then Paisley, Kenny, Jurgen, and now Slot. Interesting. One thing remains consistent, perhaps more than any other English club. It's always the club first and last. Players and managers add their DNA to the club, but the club always trumps the individual. Now, Mohamed Salah has left plenty of winners' DNA at Anfield and has taken his place in the pantheon of greats. So it's interesting to see his interview dropping a grenade into the club, because if I know Liverpool and its supporters at all, then he puts in brackets, I think there may even be a generational difference in responses. Younger supporters supporting the grenade and older shaking their heads, end of bracket. Then the first reaction will be club first and last. Don't care who it is. It's a living and breathing mantra, and one that even Mohamed Salah will find it difficult to duke it out against. Now, could Arne Slot be less pally with the players than Jurgen? Absolutely. He's a calm, relaxed, detached guy, if you remember, who was unimpressed with Trent early doors and showed a nonchalant attitude in season 1 to one of their own, who had won everything there is to win. I think that's impressive, but not as impressive as winning the title in your first season. So it's earned his respect too. The team are playing well in spurts, comedy defending, and decision making at other times. That includes everyone. And if you ask 99.9% of players if they would accept 2 or 3 games on the bench for not hitting levels, all will say yes. Only in the madness of 2025 modern football would the cult of personalities not only question a reasonable conclusion of you are not playing well, here's a spell on the bench, but Mo maybe has almost tricked himself into elevating himself to the untouchable status of Messi or Ronaldo. Players who could, if they chose, literally do and say as they pleased in the last decade. More isn't them. And Liverpool, as I said, isn't that club either. I'm sure some of the youngsters will rant. He's right, and Slot is to blame. But without any evidence that Slot has deliberately, and he puts in another bracket, he writes in another bracket, managers need their star players to perform, not to be asked about it in every presser for the next 5 months. End of bracket. So without any evidence that Slot has deliberately ostracized anyone at the club other than do what every good manager has done since the invention of the game, namely leaving someone out who is not playing well, misses the points, as every great club, team and manager have dropped great players at some stage, some even when playing well. The solution to what's now a very open sore is simple-ish. 1. Player and manager talk privately. 2. Manager tells player what he wants from the player. 3. Player commits or tell manager he wants out. 4. If player wants out, make it happen quickly. If not, pick the player and let him be judged by his continued performances. If they are poor, manager can't lose. I told you so. If they are great, manager can't lose. So Slot playing more is a very good starting point, especially as 2 very big signings have yet to make Mo yesterday's man, which is the exact point I was making, by the way. But let me finish this. And Slot can help himself a little by using his natural openness to say, maybe I'm not Jurgen, but I love my players and they couldn't have won a spectacular title without reacting to me and my methods a little too. But I hear most comments and I can tell you all now, I love him to bits. It's ours to keep. That's Collimo's advice to Arne Slot on how to handle this. That heads off any seniors with similar grenades to throw. But one thing is for sure, I don't think there ever will be a Liverpool player, past, present, or future, with valid gripes that would jeopardize the club first and last ethos of Liverpool. And those who have had legitimate concerns, I'm sure, heard them at an appropriate time, not a flash interview when emotions are high. Liverpool FC have done as well for every player who's played for them as players have done for the club. So the institution has earned that private rather than public critique, whoever that's from. And that is the end of Stan Collimo's reaction to Mohamed Salah, which I would say is probably the most sensible reaction I've seen so far, especially coming from the ex-players. Very detailed and balanced. Some parts I do not agree with, but I agree with a lot of this. And he explored both sides of this very well, which is, he did not blindly say Salah does not have a point, the club is first, even though that's the entire messaging of his reaction, is that club should be first and last in every situation. But he also saw it from Mohamed Salah's unique perspective. Where I sort of disagree with him a bit is the indication that Mohamed Salah is doing this as an ego trip. It looks like that. I understand why it might look like that, but again, I'm insisting that it is not. If we are going to be obtuse, willfully obtuse, and act like Salah only being dropped from this team and getting a DNP, did not play for 2 games in a row, being dropped for 3 games in a row, starting on the bench for 3 games in a row, as you know, is a purely football decision, then I have an ocean to sell to you. I have the Pacific Ocean for sale. Come and take the deeds in my house. Look, it is clear to me that this is not just a football decision, and that is what Mohamed Salah is talking about. So what I agree with is probably don't talk about it in public, because nobody will understand the context. You cannot possibly get your thoughts across in the manner in which you want to, and doing it immediately, like Collimo said, after a game when tensions are high, and even the interview that he did it in was a spur of the moment thing. He was asked something completely different, but you could tell that he just had something to say, just had it on his mind. Maybe he could have handled that part better. But you cannot convince me this is a football decision, especially since results did not improve. Feel me? I understand that Liverpool have probably had it in mind that they would have to start planning for life without Mohamed Salah in the nearest future. It is clear that they did not intend to do it this early, because they fought tooth and nail to keep him at the club. They could have let him Trent and Virgil van Dijk leave the club as free agents at the same time, and then start all the way from scratch with a whole new bunch. But they fought tooth and nail to try and keep 3 of them. Trent went regardless. They managed to keep 2 out of 3. So it is clear that they still have him in the plans. And the fact that they've not signed any actual right wingers to kind of compete with him is indication of the fact that they may, at least at the board level, see Mohamed Salah giving them a bit more, maybe 1 or 2 more years. He signed a 2-year contract, so maybe they're expecting him to be good for 1 or 2 more years. Nobody has seen the decline coming. With you go from 34 goals and 16 assists last season to now, struggling the way he's struggling. Even the most optimistic Mohamed Salah fan will admit that this has been a drop off. But even in the midst of said drop off, even in the let us really examine it. If you call this a football decision, then that means pretty much every Liverpool player deserves to be dropped. Pretty much every Liverpool player deserves to be talked about on a weekly basis, because that's part of Mohamed Salah's frustration here. It's the fact that it feels like he's being singled out for what has been a collective issue. And it's a very good, it's a reasonable conclusion to reach. I beg your pardon. It's a very reasonable conclusion to reach. But if you look at even this season that is supposed to be like Liverpool's worst season, Salah's worst season, he still created the most chances in the Liverpool squad with 28. He's created the second most big chances in the Liverpool squad with 5. Most passes into the penalty area with 40. Most touches in the penalty area with 105. Second most successful take-ons with 19. Second most goals scored with 5, just behind Hugo Ekitike. Those numbers isolated by December are not impressive. But the fact that in every Liverpool, pretty much all the stats that I just read, in the Liverpool squad is either first or second. You cannot reasonably tell that guy that he is the problem of this team. It does not make sense. That's why I said this is not a football decision. It doesn't feel like a football decision. And even when Salah said, after everything I've done for the club, I understand it sounds like entitlement, but it really isn't. Football or sports generally is the ultimate what have you done for me lately business. So I understand the fact that it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things what you've done for. It's about what you're doing right now. Because if that was what it is, people like Arsene Wenger will never be fired from their roles. It would always football is always about what have you done right now. I acknowledge that. But what you've done in the past should also buy you a bit of credit in the bank. And that's the point Mohamed Salah was trying to make when he made that statement that after everything I've done for the club. He's not saying after everything I've done for the club, don't ever drop me if I'm not playing well, or I must play every game, or I must be able to dictate what I want, like Messi and Ronaldo said, which is what Stan Collymore said in his statement. I don't think that's what he's saying. Mohamed Salah doesn't give dictator vibes. I don't know him personally, but I'm willing to infer some logic from what he's trying to say here. What he's saying is, if the entire team is struggling, if the entire front line is struggling, what makes you more inclined to trust a new signing that has not shown any indication that he will ever succeed at this club more than me, that has been the highest goal scorer and highest assister at this club for the last 8 years? And that is again a reasonable question to ask. What makes you Arne Slot, what makes you Liverpool Football Club as an institution be more willing to trust Cody Gakpo, who has been at the club for 3-4 years now and has not shown any indication that is capable of doing more than what he's doing right now? What makes you trust him more than you do Mohamed Salah? That's the question that Salah is trying to ask, that he did not phrase well, because he said what he said in the heat of the moment. And lucky for him, he has very eloquent people like me on his side to help him phrase it very well. It does not make any sense. That's the point. It does not feel like a football decision, and I'm willing to say it's like, without going full conspiracy theory on you guys, I'm willing to say that it is not a football decision. I think that's what would have pushed Mohamed Salah to come out and say all these things in public. If you look at last season that Liverpool won the league in and it's Slot's first season, even though Slot gets credit, and I've given Slot a lot of credit for winning the league in his first season. I literally still did it in the last episode of this podcast. But did Slot really win the league in his first season, or did Mohamed Salah win the league for Slot in his first season? Let's look at the stats. Mohamed Salah had arguably the greatest individual season of any Liverpool footballer in the modern era. Goals plus assists last season, 47 goals. 47 in total. 47 goals plus assists in total. Second highest ranking Liverpool player was Luis Diaz with 18. 29 goals and assists fewer than Mo Salah. 29 goals and assists fewer than Mo Salah. Followed by Cody Gakpo in number 3 with 14. Dominic Szoboszlai in number 4 with 12. Alexis McAllister number 5 with 10. Then you go to the single digits guys. Trent with 9. Diego Jota of blessed memory, God rest his soul, with 9. Darwin Núñez with 7. An attacker, a striker with 7. He was signed for 90 million. He had 7 goals and assists. Curtis Jones, a waste of space, with 6. Ryan Gravenberch and Virgil van Dijk with 4 each. That's the top 11 contributors for Liverpool last season. So when you look at that, now tell me if Arne Slot won the league or Mohamed Salah won the league. And if Salah doesn't have a right to feel like, hey, not saying I've done enough to never be dropped by this club when I'm not playing well, but I've done enough to earn the benefit of the doubt. If you have to drop somebody, because you can't drop the entire team, but if you have to drop somebody, maybe let it not be the guy that has carried this club for the last 8 years, while we now leave our new 150 million striker who has scored 2 goals for the club in mid-December. Why does Isak get the benefit of the doubt and Salah doesn't? That is the point. More reactions to the Mohamed Salah situation. Of course, the Egyptian national team, everybody tied to Egyptian football has already posted solidarity with Mohamed Salah, which is to be expected, standing with their captain and with the AFCON coming soon. Right now, the bone of contention is, as Mohamed Salah played his last game for Liverpool, where do you go from this? Is there even a way to come back from this? And I honestly do not know. At the time of recording, the last thing we heard was that, because Liverpool will play Inter Milan in Champions League on Tuesday, and last thing we heard was that Liverpool's head coach and Slot and the hierarchy of the club are having a meeting to determine if Salah should be left out of the squad entirely. This time around, not even on the bench, just out of the squad entirely. And Slot will come out on Monday to give a press conference and confirm or deny that. So while we wait for the results of that, what I think is next, where do we go from here? What is the way forward? I think that Salah's comments has put Liverpool Football Club in a situation where they have to pick between the coach and the player. Now, picking Mohamed Salah at 34 now is not the greatest decision. I have to admit that. It will require a lot of faith. It will require a lot of faith to say, you know what, let's say this Egyptian in his mid-30s is not finished. Let's say he's just in a bad run of form, and let us back him over the manager. Sack the manager, get somebody else in, and hope that Mohamed Salah is truly not finished and is just out of form. But even in that case, if he's not finished and just out of form, he's going to be finished in maybe 2 years, 3 years max. So is it really a gamble that is worth it? But on the flip side as well, what has Arne Slot shown apart from winning the league? Yeah, it's a massive achievement. I get that. But in terms of leaving his own imprint of this team, in terms of building a formidable team, what has Arne Slot shown so far to have earned a blanker check than Mohamed Salah? I think that if you are going by cachet, if you are going by who has the lay of the land, I think it should be Mohamed Salah in this case. Which leads me to the next level of conversation, really, about this Mohamed Salah issue. Is player power overrated? every time issues come up with players and managers, people, ex-coaches, current coaches, pundits, ex-players, whatever, everybody goes to the media to talk about how football players today have too much power, and that's why football is where it is, and it's not good for players to have this much power and blah 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 blah. But when the theory is put to the test, the players almost always lose. Think about it. I can't think of a time where it's come down to it and the player actually won in football. Unlike in the NBA, like you can say in the NBA, it's a more player-focused sport. It's a more player-focused league. More often than not, if LeBron James goes into a very public tussle with his coach, LeBron James will win. The franchise will back LeBron over the coach. Kevin Durant will be backed over the coach. Steph Curry will be back over the coach. Even players like Draymond Green, who are not necessarily like, maybe that's a stretch, but that's the point I'm making, that the NBA franchises are more likely to back their star players over the coach. We've not seen that in football whatsoever. Even the Cristiano Ronaldo, the great Cristiano Ronaldo, lost out in the player battle to Eric Ten Hag of all people, not even Sir Alex Ferguson. Eric Ten Hag. So is player power in football overrated? I ask again, and I think it is. I don't think these players are as powerful as you people seem to make it out. Yeah, maybe they've gotten a lot more powerful than they used to be. Maybe players now have, especially the very good players. Maybe the players now have a say in certain things. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the ultimate test of player power is an ultimatum. That's what it is. And every single time a star player, not even as a regular player, a star player of a team, every single time a star player of a team has come out and posed an ultimatum against the manager, the player has lost. If you can think of another instance, let me know. I think even Lionel Messi at Barcelona. How did Messi leave Barcelona? No, maybe I'm stretching there a bit, but like that's the point I'm making. If you can think of any instance where the player wins a power tussle against the manager or against the club hierarchy, do let me know in the comments. I'll be waiting for that. So the way forward is I don't see how Salah comes back from this and remains a Liverpool player. I just do not. I do not see it, but we'll see. Stay tuned to the T&T Talk Sports Show, and we'll be able to bring you all the updates on the situation. I personally believe that Mohamed Salah has played his last game for Liverpool Football Club, but we'll find out if there's anything else that we need to know. And I assume that if I draw parallels to the Ronaldo, sorry for losing my train of thought a bit there. If I draw parallels to the Ronaldo conversation, Ronaldo versus Ten Hag was also right before a major tournament, the 2022 FIFA World Cup. And then he left on the back of those bad vibes, went to the World Cup, and just never came back to Manchester United. Cut ties with the club. Did that interview with Piers Morgan and whatnot. Are we about to see a Mo Salah interview? I mean, technically, we've seen a Mo Salah interview, but this was not a tell-all. This was just an indication of, hey, I'm frustrated with my situation. I do not like what is going on at Liverpool Football Club. Blah, 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 blah. Are we about to see a Mo Salah tell-all heading into the AFCON? He leaves for the AFCON in a week. FIFA allows the clubs to keep the players till December 15. AFCON starts December 20. So it can be kept at the clubs till December 15. But I don't even think Liverpool will be opposed to him leaving early at this point, since they are not playing him anywhere, and since they have got such a media ruckus right now. So are we going to see a potential Mo Salah, Piers Morgan, or with anybody else? So I'm looking forward to that if that's what happens. But yeah, the main conversation was, is player power overrated in football? I think yes. But let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, let's move on from Mo Salah and talk about the FIFA World Cup draws, which I'm sure you are familiar with at the moment. Happened on last week Friday, and each of the countries that have qualified already know what awaits them in each group. Let me run through the groupings quickly. My favorite part of the World Cup draw is watching Americans screw up the draw. For whatever reason, the draws were held in Washington, D.C. And whatever reason, when Gretzky was one of the people doing the draws, Donald Trump was the president of the United States of America, even won a peace prize. I've seen dick riding before, but Gianni Infantino is doing skills on Donald Trump that I've never experienced before. He's doing tricks on it at this point. He's giving him that slop gog 3,000. Anyway, to the draws. In Group A, Mexico, South Africa, Korea Republic, and one empty slot, which will potentially go to either Czech Republic, Denmark, Ireland, or Macedonia, whichever of those teams come out of the European qualifiers. So Group A will see a rematch of Mexico versus South Africa from the 2010 World Cup. That might be good. Who knows? Group B says Canada, Qatar, and Switzerland, with one open slot for another qualifier from the European playoffs. Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy, Northern Ireland, or Wales. One of these four teams could get into Group B. Group C is fully complete. Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, Scotland. Bad luck for Haiti, who are in their first World Cup in about 50 plus years, and they are in this group where they look dead on to finish dead last. Group D sees another of the hosts, USA, Paraguay, Australia, and one open slot for an European qualifier in Kosovo, Romania, Slovakia, or Turkey. So one of those four teams will enter into Group B. Group D. Group E sees Germany, Curacao, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ecuador. Another potentially terrible situation for Curacao, who are in the World Cup for the first time in their history, but are in a very difficult group. Group F is the Netherlands, Japan, Tunisia, and another potential European qualifier in Albania, Poland, Sweden, or Ukraine. So one out of Albania, Poland, Sweden, and Ukraine will enter Group F. For Group G, we have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. For Group H, it's Spain, Cape Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. Tough group for Cabo Verde, who are in their first World Cup representing Africa. They will be along with Spain, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. In Group I, France, Senegal, and Norway, adding one qualifier from the international playoffs, either Bolivia, Iraq, or Suriname. Bolivia, Iraq, or Suriname will enter into this group with France, Senegal, and Norway. Group J sees Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Jordan, in their first World Cup, taking on Austria, Algeria, and Argentina. Portugal in Group K, the group that Nigeria would have been in if we had qualified to the international playoffs. Portugal, Uzbekistan, Colombia, with the last spot potentially going to either Congo, Jamaica, or New Caledonia. Congo there in place of Nigeria. And Ghana taking the L in Group L because they've been drafted along with England, Croatia, and Panama. So will Ghana finish third or last in that group? That's the question on everybody's lips. But the question I want to ask about this FIFA World Cup is this expanded format really good for business? And not just even the business of making money from FIFA's perspective, but the business of entertainment. Because a 32-team World Cup sees more established countries, play each other in the group stages. Right now, it's looking like before we will see a proper game in this World Cup, we might have to wait until the round of 16. And bear in mind that there is a round of 32 this time. So, essentially, the first 4 games of this World Cup, the first 4 rounds of games, not even the first 4 games, the first 4 rounds of games for this World Cup might not serve up any interesting or exciting fixtures. I mean, we have to now, by default, get excited for Mexico versus South Africa because, from a neutral perspective, because my country is not there, I have to specify that. But, none of these games jump out at you on paper. None of the potential group stage games are we'll watch everything because they are World Cup games. That's the only thing that's going to be on in the summer anyway. And as professionals, we have to watch the games and cover them. But Mexico, South Africa may be one of the games that stands out. It's a struggle. Brazil Morocco definitely. Brazil Morocco in Group C, definitely a game that feels like a proper World Cup game. But the more you Spain Uruguay also potentially could be a blockbuster, and I'm sure a lot of these games will be very good. I'm not talking about the quality of the games. I'm talking about the blockbuster nature of it. The games being making people want to pay to watch football. The games you are looking forward to off rip by default because of the teams that are involved. There are not a lot of those matchups here. France Senegal, yes, is one of those for me. But other than that, maybe Portugal, Colombia, I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel here. England, Croatia, maybe. So the expanded format, in my opinion, could potentially be more damaging from the perspective of entertainment, from the perspective of the product. FIFA might have just ended up cutting their own dope. FIFA might have just ended up ruining their own product. Because right now, if you have a tournament that people are not going to really be invested in until after the first 2 weeks, and it's a 1 month tournament, then what is the point? And that's what the expanded tournament is good for many reasons. Lots of countries are getting their first taste of World Cup football. Lots of countries are getting their first taste in like 50 plus years, but lots of countries are also getting debuts and stuff. That's great. And I'm sure the people that support those countries, people from those countries will make their way to USA, Canada, and Mexico to support their teams and whatnot. I'm not talking about you guys. I have nothing against the countries themselves. And again, like they say, they are no minnows in football, even though that's not true. But like that's the, I'm not against anybody that is from any country. But the point is that these games do not feel like World Cup material. They do not. That's just the simple truth. I'm not even talking about the people that might potentially qualify to the playoffs. But we will see Paraguay, Australia. We will see Haiti versus Scotland. Qatar, Canada. We will see Curacao versus Ecuador. These are games that we will see. Iran versus New Zealand. Normally at the World Cup, you get 1 or 2 or 3 of these games where, like the Iran-Nigeria comes to mind in 2014, where nobody really cares, but it's a World Cup game, so you have to watch it. But now it feels like that's the entire group stage, and that is a bad thing from FIFA's perspective. Cape Verde versus Saudi Arabia. Who is watching that in the United States, Canada, or Mexico? If you are not Cape Verdean or Saudi Arabian, who is watching that and genuinely caring and speaking for the neutral fan here and speaking for the casual? Ghana, Panama, who cares? Uzbekistan versus Colombia, who is looking forward to that? If you are not Uzbekistani or Colombian. Jordan, Austria, Jordan, Algeria, who wants to watch that? So from that perspective, this might have been a mistake. The expanded World Cup might have been a mistake. But again, the way football works, I'm just talking about like the excitement leading up to it. The actual games might turn out to be blockbusters. The actual games might turn out to be memorable games. We just have to hope that that's the case as the World Cup draws nearer and nearer. Let's just hope Infantino has not ended up cutting his own dope, essentially, if you get that reference. Moving on from the World Cup, Inter Miami, still sticking with America and with football and America. Inter Miami have won the MLS Cup. I don't have a deep dive for you here, but congratulations to Inter Miami and Lionel Messi and David Beckham and the rest of that team for winning the MLS Cup. I assume that when David Beckham started this football club, this was always the intention to win the highest trophy available. And this is the highest trophy available to them at this moment in time. Congratulations to them. 8-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi had a hand in all 3 goals as Inter Miami saw Vancouver Whitecaps to win its first MLS Cup. So Messi, along with his amigos, Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, who this was their own last dance, officially retired from football after this. So nice for them to retire with the trophy. They've won more important things. And you could see from the celebrations that Messi didn't really care what's going on. Right? To him, it's just another trophy, and this is not even one of his 30 most prestigious trophies. From Inter Miami's perspective, from the perspective of the city of Miami, from the perspective of the state of Florida, I would say congratulations to the club for this historic achievement, and hopefully they are able to replicate it, even though I doubt it. because the team is most likely going to get broken up. Javier Mascherano has not covered himself in glory as manager. The heavily carried by Lionel Messi and his heroics. Luis Suarez is most likely leaving at the end of the season. Alba and Busquets are already retired. Maybe that's the whole plan behind bringing in Rodrigo de Paul and signing much younger players. But congratulations to them. Moving swiftly on to a story that caught my eye over the weekend. An international footballer, 29-year-old international footballer, has been arrested in London's West End on suspicion of assault and affray after a man is rushed to the hospital with injuries. Daily Mail reports a high-profile international footballer has been arrested on suspicion of assault and affray after a man was left in hospital. The 29-year-old, who cannot be named, Voldemort style, for legal reasons, was held at the scene in the early hours of Saturday morning in London's West End. Met police say they were called to the scene at 12:47 a.m. following reports of an assault. The man was taken to the hospital with injuries police say were not life-changing or life-threatening. The player has subsequently been released on bail. A Met police spokesperson said, and I quote, "Police were called to Wandle Street, W1 at 047 hours on Saturday, December 6, following reports of an assault. The victim was taken to the hospital and his injuries are not believed to be life-changing or life-threatening. A 29-year-old man was arrested at the scene on suspicion of 2 counts of assault and 1 count of affray. He has since been released on bail while inquiries continue." A high-profile international footballer has been arrested on suspicion of assault and affray. It's the report from the Daily Mail. And the subject of this exercise now is to guess who this footballer is or could be. Sources on the internet are saying it's probably Crystal Palace's Daniel Munoz because he fits the description. 29 years old, international. Plays in London, plays his football in London for Crystal Palace in the south of London. So I don't know if it's Daniel Munoz. I'm not going to put this on him. And I can't even think of who it could be because not a lot of players fit that description. But what do you guys think it is? The story just caught my eye. It's not anything. This is just me looking for tea at this point. So bear with me. Bear with my testy ass. Let's move on to Coupon Busters, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if we have a lot of time left, but I do have time to cuss out Real Madrid and crash out on this platform of mine. Real Madrid losing 2-0 at home to Celta de Vigo from where to where. What could you have possibly bet on in that game that would have given you a positive result? Real Madrid to win? No. Real Madrid 2 up? No. Real Madrid 1 up? No. Real Madrid score 1 goal? No. Real Madrid score 2 goals? No. Real Madrid double chance? No. Real Madrid score 1 goal in either half? No. Real Madrid score 1 goal in both halves? No. Over 2.5 goals in the game? No. It ended 2-0 in favour of Celta de Vigo. Interesting. Red Star Belgrade, I spoke about them a few weeks ago, but they've screwed me over again on Sunday, losing 1-0 at home to Vojvodina. If you know Red Star Belgrade, that's Crvena Zvezda in the Serbian League, Serbian Prva Liga, you know that 1-0 loss at home is just not a result that they have. I don't even want to say that they have often. I can't remember the last time they lost 1-0 at home. I don't understand it, but they better stop it. Cost me a lot of money. Celtic 2-1 losers at home to Hearts in the Scottish Premiership. Again, Celtic losing at home is surprising. They were the bookings favourite. But I think anyone that will be following the Scottish Premiership this season knows that Hearts are a pretty good team. Even though they were tied on points coming into this game. Hearts got the better of them in Celtic's very own home stadium. So congratulations to Celtics. Congratulations to Hearts. Copenhagen losing 2-0 at home to Sunday Scare in the Danish Superliga. I don't have anything else to say. I do not have anything else to say. But notable results on the weekend: Liverpool 3, Leeds United 3, Chelsea drawing away at Bournemouth goalless. Liam Delap picking up an injury and ruled out for 7 weeks because of said injury. Arsenal finally losing after going on a great run of unbeaten results. But the loss at home, the loss away to Aston Villa, late goal to break their heart. Emi Buendia with a 95th minute winning goal to break the Arsenal hearts, and Unai Emery was thrown into incredible amounts of celebration. Other results that caught the eye in La Liga. Barcelona did their business away at Real Betis. I already told you about Real Madrid losing at home. Let me rant about Atletico Madrid real quick and the damage they did to my finances on Saturday night. Atletico Madrid lost away to Athletic Club Bilbao by 1-0. Guess what yours truly asked them to do? Just score one goal. Atletico Madrid just score one goal and we'll be all better for it. But no, Sunday Young must not make money according to these football clubs. Anyway, I'm going to stop going through the results in other games because it's just giving me PTSD at this point. Let's look forward. Let's not look backward. And there's Champions League this weekend. This midweek. Sorry, beg your pardon. Champions League action returns. It's 2 big fixtures on either day, Tuesday or Wednesday. There are 18 games in total, 9 on each day. But 1 fixture stands out in each day. And I'll get to it. Kairat Almaty will host Olympiacos on Tuesday. Bayern Munich host Sporting Club Portugal. Atalanta will host Chelsea. Barcelona welcome Eintracht Frankfurt to the newly reopened Camp Nou. Inter versus Liverpool is the big fixture for Tuesday, as I mentioned earlier. And we'll see if Mohamed Salah will be involved in that. We'll see if Ancelotti will pick up another defeat. We'll see to all of that. Monaco against Galatasaray. PSV against Athletic Club de Madrid. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise will host Marseille. And Tottenham versus Slavia Prague close out the action of the day on Tuesday. On Wednesday, another 9 fixtures. Karabakh versus Ajax. Villarreal versus Copenhagen. Athletic Club Bilbao versus Paris Saint-Germain. Bayer Leverkusen versus Newcastle United. Benfica hosts Napoli. Club Brugge hosts Arsenal. Dortmund versus Bodo Glimt. Juventus versus Paphos. And the biggest game of the night, Real Madrid versus Manchester City. So best of luck to all those teams that are involved. We'll be looking forward to watching every one of those games. I'll probably do a live watch along on my TikTok. I don't know if I can do it for YouTube. If my director or my producer is feeling up to it, they just look at me with bad eyes, so I'm not doing it. If I still do it, I'll buy video play for him. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a fun episode, guys. So bear in mind again, the conversation of the week is player power in football overrated. Let me know what you think in the comments. And again, to our giveaway winner, I can't remember his name now, but we've already messaged you on Adebola. I giveaway winner on YouTube. We've already replied to you on YouTube, and we've asked for you to reach out to us on Instagram so you can claim your jersey. So we are still waiting on you. A week has passed. So clearly, you did not listen to last week's episode and you pay me. But hey, shout out to everybody that have shown us love over the last 3 months of creating content. Now, episode 16. We do this for 17 weeks in total. So thank you so much. We do not take you for granted. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to our content. Let everybody know you enjoy what they're watching, especially the algorithm, because that's how they now decide to show us to even more people, so they can then enjoy what they're watching, and then they show us to even more people, and that's how the community builds, and that's how the family grows bigger. So that's what I try to build here, a community of like-minded individuals that love to talk about football respectfully and emphasize on that. Then if we share football opinions and we go back and forth, but we keep it civil, it's fun. I look forward to hearing your opinions because I want to be able to counter my opinion, and then maybe I can learn from your opinion, maybe you can learn from my opinion. That's fun. What takes the fun out of it is insults, unnecessary insults. When somebody posts a football opinion and your first response is, "This one is crazy," or "Shut up." That's the one that even always makes me laugh at. Because you will say shut up, then you're not going to give your opinion. You could have given your opinion without saying shut up. Like, that's not how people even talk in real life. I assure you, are not going to anybody on the streets or at the newspaper joint or at the viewing center and they share a football opinion and say Jackson's better than the lab. And they say shut up. And then you go ahead and share your opinion. They will slap the shit out of you. But hey, it's a non-violent zone. I'm not going to slap you. I can't. It's the internet. Everybody's bored on the internet. But thank you very much again for those of you that work with our content. I will see you next week. But during this week, there will be lots of content rolled out on the channel. So stay tuned for that. And we'll see how the Champions League plays out. Until next time, peace, love, prosperity. My name is Tony Young. This is Abayomi says I from Diaspora. Peace out.